Many of us have been running all our lives. Practice stopping. This is Thich Nhat Hanh. We are very used to receiving value whenever we do something, and not just for being. And we live in this society that is now crazy on doing things fast. So it's not just the doing anymore, but it's also the fast edit there. And I notice sometimes when there's a moment of silence that people start getting uncomfortable, and they try to cover that by doing, by speaking, by, and we distract ourselves so often. And I like this idea of stopping, which is a pause. And I'm in love with the idea of stopping, because I see the effects it has not just on my life, but on the way I interact with other people. And if I'm thinking of children, for instance, I see how important it is for them to have moments of stopping, and they know how to do this. They can stop on the way to wherever we go and look at an ant, for instance, for minutes on end. And who is the one not able to stop? It's the adult, always saying, come on, let's go. Or, how they stop and they just look at people and they just stare, because they are curious. They are explorers in this world. And to explore in this way means to stop, to observe, to pause.
I really appreciate that. And what I really like about the quote is the word practice, because sometimes a person would feel, I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to be mindful. I'm always distracted, or I can't stop, or I can't pause, or I can't meditate. And the idea is that it's a skill that can't be learned and can't be practiced, and it can be practiced. And, like a muscle that we can keep training to become, more resourceful and more skilled at. So I really appreciate the word practice. And I feel that that's one of the things that meditation as a practice does. Because when a person sits on their mat or sits in a place and they meditate for, 5, 10, 15, however many minutes a day, in essence, what they're doing is they're practicing to stop. They're practicing to stop throughout their day, to sit and to meditate for this certain amount of time, and then getting up and going on with the day. Now, what that does is that skill of stopping, they can take it with them throughout their day. So when they're, in the car, or they're having a heated discussion with someone, or, they're feeling very overwhelmed, or so much busyness, or something's going on, that practice that they do at home with the meditation every day, they can take it to these other instances during their day to be able to practice to stop. So I really appreciate that idea of practicing.
Mm-hmm. And it also happens that when you practice stopping, at first, there are a lot of sensations that become very loud in your body. And there's pain surfacing, and it can be very uncomfortable. And I can also understand why sometimes it's just impossible to stop, because the more we do, the more we move away from that pain and from all those sensations that are too uncomfortable to sit alone with.
I remember, and this was, I think, the turning point for me when I started on my journey. So growing up, it was very clear what I had to do and how life is lived. So you go to school, you have to study hard, get certain grades, you go to college, study hard, get certain grades, then you start work, and it's very important for a woman to work so she can be independent. And then you get married and you settle, and then you have kids. And I remember, I was on track with all of that, checking the boxes as I went. And then I had my child and I stopped. I felt like, okay, now what? And it was so uncomfortable as a feeling, not knowing what I'm meant to do next, because for some reason I thought, okay, well, now I'm done with all these things you told me I need to do to reach, I don't know what I'm supposed to be reaching now. And now I don't know what to do. And I realized how much I'd been running. I've been running the whole time, striving to get something, to achieve something. And it's one after the other, and a degree after another, and, you know, a job after another, to get to a certain place that then what? And I remember I was so uncomfortable stopping because it was something that I've never experienced before. So now what? And there's no one to tell me what to do. And it's very uncomfortable to sit with it. In hindsight, the most beautiful thing that happened to me, then extremely uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm. I was thinking about stopping and this being uncomfortable and always following a map or a plan. And it seems that whenever you stop, you don't do anything anymore. But to me, for instance, the most creative moments were those when I practiced stopping. Like those ideas that pushed me forward came when I was just allowing myself to just be. When I was sitting on my own island of being, it's when actually I was becoming the most creative. And there is this, I don't know, I wouldn't call it power, but there is this strength that you gain whenever you practice this stopping, that what you do afterwards is just more productive. Because when you are rested, when things come from rest, then they are somehow faster, easier, you are more focused, so stopping also allows us to be more creative, more resourceful, more efficient, and more of a lot of the good things, let's say. And I'm putting the quotes for the good here.
Absolutely, Anca. And it gives a chance to also recenter ourselves and to ground ourselves. So when we're not stopping and we're rushing, it's more of reacting to life, taking decisions on the go, reacting to things that are happening, firefighting the whole time. But when we're able to stop and to pause, it's giving that chance to ground ourselves and to act as opposed to react, and to make that conscious choice or decision of what to say, how to behave, what to do. Yeah, I really appreciate that.
Well, which reminded me that during holiday we went to this aqua park where we took a boat. It was two it was not necessarily a boat, it was a tube more like it, but there were two of us in these tubes, and we took a stroll on the lazy river. And that was such an exercise for myself, because at first I was, let's say, agitated, or I was moving, and my daughter was in front of me and she was smaller than the tube, and she was looking for her balance, and I was just here to the left, to the right, to the, I was just, and then it was very hard to maintain direction. The river was really lazy. And I realized after a while that once I settled, it was a lot easier just to control everything from one stroke. That was all it took. And whenever I did more, it was harder again to keep the balance. So the stopping here, I would also link to this, that it helps us to maintain our balance. In this, I was associating the lazy river actually to life, because that's what we are doing. We're struggling so much and we are always on the move, and but it's just a fake feeling of control that we get out of it. And there's so much acceptance in stopping and in allowing life to be and ourselves to be.
I'm going to think of your example the next time I feel like I need to move fast to fix something or to do something or to control something, and think of you on that boat when you took a stop.
On the lazy river. Yeah.